Um, One of the debilitating effects on our society is corruption. It's where people hold positions of power over others and they use illicit means to gain money, power at other people's expense. And I think across the world it is the most serious problem we have in nearly every country, probably in all countries of the world, is the amount of corruption that exists. And corruption is corrosive, because the more the corruption, the more corrosive is the society. And this is reflected in the lack of trust in the people that rule them. And it's very interesting to see how some politicians get into positions of power, and from that position you then see tremendous abuse. And this is something that we as a world need to tackle. People suffer because of corruption. Nations suffer. And systems suffer. Honesty and fairness go out of the window. And that is unhealthy for any society. How are we to remedy corruption? I think the first is to understand the damage that it does to society, any society, and to individuals of that society. When vast, huge amounts of money are illicitly taken from the economy and go into the hands of a few. And that means that services that are important, that could be, that need to be financed, are not. And in that way, people suffer. So let's start off with corruption for all of us, in ourselves. What is corruption? So what do we do that is corrupt? How do we exploit the people around us in whatever way? And if we start from there, we can begin to look and think, well, what do I do? So, for instance, we take teachers. I think many teachers are corrupt. And they're corrupt because they work in an educational system that only benefits a few, maybe about 10%. For most people, the educational system fails them because it isn't the right type of education and skills learnt that they need. And if we look at, if we were to work on individual differences and see that looking at the potential of individuals, many times it has nothing to do with the academic side of education. Yet we propagate that as the only way, and teachers, follow this and say this is the way that we should go, and accept that type of structure, and don't say, well, okay, I can see quite clearly that that this child is much better with his hands, or this child is a craftsman, or this person has a caring mentality, or this one has a insight into nature, and develop the interest and what will benefit the individual child. And if we do that, then society will benefit. So there's corruption there. And then we have business corruption, where the motive for business is profit, and it's usually a profit at any cost, without understanding the social consequences of what they're doing. And we see these huge conglomerates paying people a very small salary, while their owners amass billions. And this is acceptable. And instead of saying, well, what do I need these billions for? Wouldn't it be better to spread out the money amongst my employees so that they all benefit? What do I need? Do I need more than £100,000 a year? So what is it, this idea that I amass a huge fortune, then spend a lot of time on lawyers to evade taxes? And then politicians themselves, with their attitude that, you know, they say they're there to serve the people, but this isn't true. In the main, they're there to serve themselves, and they believe, they have a belief, and they think that's right, and they go forth into society passing laws, and which are often detrimental to a huge swathe of the populace, and support businesses who are corrupt, and instead of challenging them with the idea that it's okay to make loads of money at the expense of people. So corruption is everywhere, in every aspect of our society, and we need to start with ourselves and understanding our own values and our own ethics and principles that we have, and how what we do and how does that impact on society, and is if what we do is harmful to others. This is a very difficult position to take, because it means going against established institutions, and many people, you know, find the idea of that sort of confrontation and questioning very difficult, because it means that you have to think through your own values. Where is your own moral stance on anything? And I personally have always lived my life on my own ethical stance. I work through what I believe in, and one of the things I feel very strongly that, you know, that earning about 40,000 a year, around about there, for anyone is satisfactory. It brings about good health, and it doesn't necessarily be exploitation. I've always believed that there should be equity, and if we have equity, then there is no need for corruption. And what people who do corrupt, and we corrupt in many different aspects of life. We do things that are illicit, and we use bribery in many ways. We start even by bribing children. You know, if you don't do what I tell you, then you won't get so and so. I mean, that's corruption at a basic level. Why can't we be more open in society, and be more open with each other, and express what we need and what we don't need, and talk to children and about how we think they should behave, and let them talk back to us to say why, how they feel, and what's happening with them. And it's that conversation that society needs from everybody. This society where we turn a blind eye and say that is okay, and we can see that if we continue to allow this corruption, whether it be in business or in education, in whatever politics, what happens is that we lose trust in the people who are supposed to govern us or make money. And what happens? We look at bankers. There is no trust in the general populace. They are corrupt. They continue to take money from society. They have never ever understood, you know, it's all about their bonuses, their salaries, and for what? I mean, if one was ill, I certainly wouldn't want a banker to look after me. Give me a doctor or a nurse, of course. So the value to me is these are the people that have true value. Yet we give value to pop stars, we give value to footballers, film stars, we give people status, they earn loads of money, and we think that's acceptable. I think that is corruptive. I think it corrupts a young person who is a footballer, and suddenly, you know, they're earning £200,000 a week. I mean, that's appalling. And it doesn't do the person who's receiving the money, and all the people who are giving it, all the people who give them status, What we need to do is that is corrupting. It's corruptive for society, because there will be people who will have very similar skills and they are not financially rewarded as that, and they will feel lesser beings because of that. And football is only a skill. Being able to act is only a skill. Being able to sing or write music is just a skill. There's nothing. There are other skills. I mean, a good cleaner is worth their weight in gold to me. Certainly people in the hair service, in care homes. You know, we pay care workers such poor money. They're a totally corruptive system, because we don't value them, and we should be valuing them. And we give status to people, I think, incorrectly, people who are corruptive and who make money or set themselves up, and the people behind the musicians or within the football game and behind the businesses, they have no moral, no ethics. They are corruptive, and corruption seeps in and destroys, I think, the social cohesion and harmony that society should have.